Well, hey there, YouTube. It's Petey again with the I uh, I really like these pitch pipes. If you can get one that has a brass reed, you'll be able to hear it. Um, I, I I would guess that buying them from AliExpress and getting the 79-cent one, you might get one that has a nylon reed or something that's not like this is the Conservarte guitar pitch pipe. They're close. They're not. Um, the reason that I like these so much is for when you're restringing. Uh, so okay, you take the strings off the guitar, you put new strings on, then what do? You go get your digital tuner and plug it in. I don't know. For me, this so that's what I just showed you is why I'm hot to trot for these. Now, I brought it up in another video about my handicap, and that's just because there's people that are new that I don't know if they know. So if I talk about my handicap, it's not because I've quit, because I've given up. If you know me, you know I'm real proud about us. What I always say is I've accomplished all of my goals when it comes to music, because what I set out to do was try to fake my way through being able to play guitar and emit an emotional response from myself. Okay, I wanted to be able to make music that when I listened to it, I thought, gee, that's good, and it transmuted some sort of an emotion. Okay, and I've done that through recording and playing live. We record ourselves playing live, and I watch the videos, and I get the same response. So, somebody came on here and was like, dude, I understand you had an accident, but you need to. You ever hear of Tony Iommi? And the reason that I brought my handicap up was merely to state that if you're coming at me, like I said in the video, don't judge me unless you watch the creation video. Nobody even watched the video where it was called "What's Your Guitar Worth?" and the point of the "What is your guitar worth?" video had nothing to do with monetary value. It's talking about guitar players who are into collecting guitars, and they want to know if your Strat is Japanese. They want to know if your Strat is American, because they're judging you by your gear. And this is something that I've been on about since day one. It makes me see red. I can't stand when people act like that. It has nothing to do with anything. And I know there's a lot of shredders and there's a lot of guys who can really play out there that have YouTube channels. That's great. I write songs. That's what I do. I'm unable to shred, so my path has been different. And I honestly would tell you, even if I wouldn't have had that accident with the lawnmower, there's no way I would be shredding. Okay, and that's okay. I do this because I love doing it. Now, today's video, I wanted to talk about these strings. Moog. That's one. Bad Moog. Is that what people say? The hip people say? Instead of saying mother, Fucker, you say Mog or Moog. Is that like a 90s thing? So we've got a huge chunk of meat in the pressure cooker. That's my skillet that's cooking in there. If you can hear all the hissing and spitting. So these Moog guitar strings, these are $10. They're $19 shipped for 10 pairs, and I got them off AliExpress. That's where I got mine. I'm not saying these are better than D'Addarios, okay? They're the best budget strings that I've been able to find. I haven't tried anything but 9 through 42. I really like 9 to 42. I got some of these Cousin Eddie, Reverend Willie's 7/38, real skinny. The guy from the Eagles. And that right there, if you were paying attention, the only reason that I brought up the fact that I'm missing these fingertips on this hand, I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but I tune my B string up a half a step to a C. Okay, that's the alternate tuning. That's the solution that I came up with so I could overcome the fact that I'm missing these. And then I get this guy like, dude, you need to, like, Tony, you ever hear of Black Sabbath? Yeah, I heard of Black Sabbath when I was 9. That's when I found out about Black Sabbath and that Iommi was missing his fingers. I knew about that before I had my accident. I knew about Garcia before I had my accident. So, I don't know. I guess I just like reading about stuff that interests me. So, the point being, I like pitch pipes. Okay? If you like digital tuner or you have your whatever you got on Amazon, that's fantastic. And you know what? We have digital tuners all over the place here too. I love them. I've got a what's that thing called? It's a Boss TU2, the chromatic tuner. I got a Boss. We got a couple of monoprice tuners. One of them acts a little funny, won't come on from time to time. Those are pretty nice tuners. My wife has a really nice Korg buffered bass tuner on her bass pedal board. That's probably my favorite tuner in the house, that Korg. So we got a bunch of tuners, but you know what? To be honest with you, go on AliExpress. You can get these, or there's a circle one. There's a circle one with a little thing, plastic mouthpiece that goes around, and you click clack that to change notes. That click clack one, that's not as it's not necessarily for guitar. Like this is for guitar. The one where you can move it, there's all different notes on there. So for me, because I tune my guitar differently, when I get to that one string, this is of no use for me. So I ordered one of the ones where you can select and you can get a C or a C sharp out of it. So that's what I'll be using to tune this B string. And like I said, if you're the type of guitar player that likes to experiment or you utilize alternate tunings, this wouldn't be recommended for you. The thing that's good about this is no batteries, and you can pass it around. Mind you, I wouldn't pass it around. I would sit there and toke on it and let the next guy tune his instrument. But if you've had enough experience where, like, we both have multi-effectors, her Boss seems to be right on her Boss multi-effector, but my NUX MG30, in order for me to be in tune with her, I have to tune way sharp on my MG30. And there's no adjuster on it. You can't adjust it. So, and I realize people are like, well, it's only a $300 multi-effector. Well, still, if they do something wrong, and they've already done 3 or 4 firmware updates, come on, NUX. Come on. That's inexcusable. It's a nice tuner. I use it, but I tune it sharp. I know how many red bars I need to add to my signal to get it in the ballpark. So the point being of this video, So with the Strat, when I'm tuning it, there's a certain amount of abuse that I will inflict on the strings until I can get them to stretch a little bit and stay in tune a little better. Honestly, in an ideal setting, I would put those strings on the Strat, tune it sharp a half step all the way across, and this is after getting it up to pitch, kind of stretching it, beating on the whammy, pulling up, playing it. I'm doing this over and over. You just gotta keep turning and stretching them and just crank it, you know. And you'll bring it up like a half a step sharp, and then you'll play it and it'll be like in tune. It's the funniest thing because the strings stretch out. So you got to just keep doing that. Like the process of putting a set of strings on a Strat, and it kind of depends on what they are, but you know, some gauges and some types of strings will stretch more than others. But for me, and the strings that I tend to use, there's a real lot of stretching that goes on. So it's kind of a little rough and tumble. It's like I'm and this is a 12-volt Ryobi. This is a great tool. See, you go, oh, I got an 18-volt DeWalt. Well, that's great. I have multiple 18-volt DeWalts, Ryobis are the ones that I have. I've got the lithium-ion batteries. That's great. This isn't a dick measuring contest at Phoebe's channel. Okay? Sit down, calm down. The 12-volt is not the 4.5-volt, and it's not the 18. And the 4.5 will work for string jobs, and the 18 will work for string jobs. But what works the best on your wrist, so you don't harm yourself, and for the speed of it, is this. The 12-volt Ryobi, they sell the 4.5s. The only reason you should be getting the 4.5 is if you see it at the Goodwill. You know, you can pull the screws out of those, unsolder the dead battery, put a new, and we're talking lithium-ion 18650 cells. So you can repair those. It's not that big of a deal. You do need to solder, and you'll have to wear gloves. You don't want to cut yourself on the metal tabs. You use a needle nose to kind of work those off if they've been like spot tinned to the top of the battery. Whatever process they use to attach that, I'm not familiar with it, but I will just get a needle nose underneath there and just spin it. I'll just get it underneath there and just spin it, and it'll peel it off. And then you can, I use paste flux. I never solder without paste flux. So you tin it, tin both sides, and then. So as far as string changes go, you know, there's budget brands of strings on AliExpress, and the what are they called? The light blue ones. Those the E string breaks on them. Let me just hop over to AliExpress and look at some guitar strings, and I can tell you guys. See, when I come on my channel and I go, hey guys, I need you to smash the like button because I'm a unbelievable. See, I would never say that. Electric guitar strings. Okay, so what I'm talking about here, when you go to look for budget strings on AliExpress or on eBay, most of the stuff that you see is fakes. They've counterfeited all of the strings. Okay, now the Orphe strings are the ones that break. The high E strings break. I do not recommend the Orphes. The ear-in strings, I did not like the ear-in strings. The Ticos are really cheap. The Alice strings, I am not down with the Alice strings. I got junk from them, and then I got strings for the double ball end strings for the headless guitar, and they were like 3 inches too short. Bass strings on AliExpress, like there's some brands like you don't want to pay $2. You don't want to pay like $8 for bass strings. Like if you're paying like 14, you're probably going to get a decent set of bass strings. If they're like 18 bucks, you probably get a good, even if they're not a brand name. But at that price, you spend a couple extra bucks and, you know, get something with a regular name. But like I'm looking through all this stuff. The Elixirs, those are all fake. The Alice, fake. They're junk. So trying to find a deal on as far as budget strings go. Now see, there's these Zico bass strings. I don't know. They a lot of times the bass strings, like when you get stuff from China, they're just horrible junk, unbelievable junk. They'll have these tiny ball ends, these really little skinny strings, or they're like really sandpapery. So I don't know. These Alice fretless, like some of these, you know, like I'm looking. I heard the Caye, Caye. You can get the more expensive K's. I heard those are not bad. But really, it's a real crapshoot. So if you watch this video and you're sick and tired of me yapping with an attitude up here, I just got to tell you, I'm bringing you some valuable information because these are like 20 bucks for 10 sets, and these are good. These will stay on the guitar. They won't break. They stay long enough to go dead, to be replaced. They don't last as long as Diodario's, but they last pretty long. I had a set of these on for like 3 months, and it's this guitar that doesn't go in the case, so it's sitting out, and it got to be like they didn't have the lines on them, but it was like kind of painful to play it. You know what I mean? Anyway, you guys, I got 1,000,001 things going on here, and I honestly won't. I'm not going to be really in a good mood until I get this this set figured out, what guitars I'm going to play, and then I have to reprogram my multi-effector. It's just admitting defeat, you know. I thought that, I could get this one guitar to do everything by putting a hot rail in it. And the last thing was going in to replace the pot with a 500K. I went in and tore it apart today. I unsoldered up the pot and took it out, and it is a 500K. And by that, if you're not familiar with that concept, it's the 250K pot is stock for a Fender. That's what they normally use for single coils. I've got a humbucker, I've got a hot rail in here, and I wanted to brighten it up. So if you put a 500K pot in, It will do that. It will supposedly make it brighter. And I've seen people in forums like, never put 500k pot on a Strat. Your single coils will be way too bright. And it's like, reading that put me off of trying it. And like, I never even knew that I had already done it. It didn't like, it's too bright. I don't know. I'm kind of from that school where if it's too bright, I'll adjust my tone knob. I like having a little more and then being able to cut. So blah 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 blah. At some point we will play these songs and get video of them. Hopefully pretty soon, and you guys will get to see that. It's like 16 songs, and I'm proud of it. It's been a lot of work, and we're here. My wife and I have been rehearsing this stuff and learning it and adjusting our equipment, our multi-effectors, getting everything tweaked, getting the levels of the backing tracks, adjusting everything. And I mean, I hear things densely. It's like, oh, is that sound effect of a smoke alarm that's beeping incessantly, going through a delay to loop it to make it beep more? Is that too loud? Okay, write that down so tonight when we're done playing at 1:30 in the morning, I can go in on the DAW and turn that down -3 dBs. So that's been my life for like the past 3 months, is obsessing over this set list. And it's like, I've been putting strings on my old guitars and getting my old guitars out. I played my Strat. I couldn't believe my Strat. Just how good it is compared to the Squire. So now it's just like, I'm just like depressed, you know. You know, if I could have like sold drugs in the late 80s, early 90s, when people weren't giving, you could get an American Strat for 400 used. An American Strat for 400 used. Now that was a steal. But yeah, I paid $450 for mine and it was brand new. The story they told me at the it was a place called DJ's Music in Berwyn, and I bought my JC120 amplifier from them too. Those guys, one of the guys that sold me the guitar, it wasn't like I knew him or anything. He was just some long-haired goof that worked there. He claimed some rich people bought this Midnight Blue American Standard Strat for their kid for Christmas, and he brought it back in January because it wasn't pointy enough, and he bought a Kramer or some kind of Super Strat. So there it was. I was like, what's with that Strat? And it was the same color as this guy Rob Fetters, who's like my guitar idol, my favorite guitar player. And that's why it popped out at me. I'm like, that's Rob's Strat, and I bought it. We had the same guitar, and then his got stolen. Now he doesn't play Midnight Blue Strat anymore. So anyway, you guys, wish me luck. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Hug your pets, and peace.